Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug.Show. My name is Doug Cunnington, and in this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about page builders. We'll talk about mastermind meetings and mastermind groups just a bit as well. And I will mention something I sent out in the email just today, and that is about how and why you're motivated, which kind of ties in to many different areas, but especially the mastermind meeting. I will also play the guitar just a little bit at the end. I'll warn you. So if you don't care, you don't give a shit, and you specifically, and you don't want to listen to me play guitar, then you could just skip it at the end. I'll make it like after the outro and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So it's okay. I'm not offended if you don't want to listen, but a couple people have asked, and I was like, I'll go ahead and do it. It'll just be like a minute. It's not much, not too much. So I'm sitting here holding the guitar, and that should help me do this whole episode a little bit faster. If you have been paying attention the last few weeks, I have been publishing additional episodes, like a second episode for the week occasionally. I used to do this every single week. If you're a longtime listener, you know that I published 2 episodes per week in the past, and I decided to just not do 2 episodes and just do 1 episode. And it's been great overall. However, I have other things to say sometimes, and I just, want to record something quick and then publish it the next day, which is what is happening today. So I'll get to the point. Part of it is to make these a little bit quicker and faster than some of the other episodes, which are long and they ramble on. Okay. To that point, let's hear from Johan. So Johan sent me an email, said Divi or similar page builder themes, right? So that's the subject line. I have a question about page builders. What's your take on them and Google's? I hear a bit about not using them as it detracts from the user experience. He says that I have a friend that asked about it, and he said that he built one. He had it built by a developer, and as far as GT metrics is concerned, it's fantastic. His basic pages get 97% in the green, and I know there's other things that should be considered. Joe, he goes by Joe. So Joe says, could you please do a podcast on why page builder themes are talked about and why or why not to use them? Great question, because I usually complain about page builders. I just don't like them. And it's not because I haven't used them before. The reason why I don't like page builders is because I specifically have used them before. And I used to use, in my most experience, is with the Thrive Content Builder or Thrive Architect. And it was kind of cool when it first came out, and it was promoted heavily by the people that I followed. And they were affiliates, and I didn't appreciate how driven affiliates are to promote something and say, if you're not using this specific theme, then you're really behind and you really should use it. Now, back in those days, because I'm getting old now, back in those days, people didn't talk as much about page speed. Google didn't really use that as one of the, quote, ranking factors. And that was kind of important, right? It was a little important, but no one was thinking, hey, I got to get Core Web Vitals and all that kind of stuff. So people didn't care as much about the speed, and we maybe just tried to get it good enough, and we tried to make sure we weren't using like giant images or anything like that, but that was about it. So overall, my take is don't use page builders. You can use them, right? You can use them and still have fast pages. So there are instances that you mentioned, Joe, and there are a lot of other themes where if you use them and they have a page builder, you can still have great speed scores. So it's not impossible to do. And by default, usually they're going to be okay. However, it is very easy to eventually build a page that doesn't load quickly and to have a lot of bloat in there. So while it's possible to have a fast loading page, it's also possible to take it in a different direction and accidentally have a slow loading page. The bigger issue that I have is it's unnecessarily complicated. So for example, like I am recording a podcast, a video right now, and it is very easy for me to record it, do this. There'll be a tiny little edit that I need to do, but it's really just chopping off the front and the back and making sure the intro is in there. Pretty simple. And that is great. I could just publish it. It's very simple. I could upload it, and I'm doing video and audio. The point being, when you have like a simple workflow, things can be quick and fast. I've coached many students in the past and just chatted with other friends and stuff, and they're like, I would love to be able to, hand off this process to a VA, but it's just so much stuff that you have to do. I have to format this properly. There's a template, but I have to format it properly, and it's just confusing, and I don't think a VA could help. Or it just takes that person, whatever, an hour and a half to upload and publish like one blog post, right? It doesn't have to take that long. And these page builder type themes, they are susceptible for that kind of thing where instead of just copying and pasting or typing out a blog post, inserting a couple images and hitting publish, you have to do this other shit that takes forever. And it makes it a lot more complicated. So that's the big sin. The secondary sin is that whenever you want to migrate away from a page builder theme or similar setup, usually it's very hard to migrate away from it. There's a lot of other things and formatting and code that's in there that makes it somewhat difficult to just switch to another theme. So it keeps you sticky and it keeps you using that theme, even though you might want to use something different that's a better solution for whatever it is you're trying to do. And generally, the benefits, in air quotes, the benefits that you get from using a page builder are not worth it. So maybe there are some designers out there that have a really strong feeling about it, but generally you want the theme to stay out of the way so that the content is in the front. The secondary part of Joe's question is what Google thinks about page builders. And truth be told, I didn't do any research about what Google thinks because, let's face it, Google will say a lot of stuff, but they may do things a little differently. They may tell us things and then react completely different, irrelevant to whatever it is they just told us. So I wouldn't necessarily trust whatever Google has to say. That said, I do know from a general standpoint that it's really good if the visitor to your site could get the information as quickly and easily as possible. So Google would like that too. And technically, Google does want to get the person the answer, the searcher. They want to deliver the right page to the searcher. Regardless of what Google does tell us, we know that generally they want people using the search engine, and the search engine will be used more if people get what they're looking for, whatever they're searching for. So if you can, like I said, keep the theme out of the way and just get that information to the visitor as soon as possible, that's the best thing you could do. You want usability to be high. You want it to be easy to read the web page, to use the web page, navigate around, all that kind of thing. So overall, I would say stay away from page builders. In the short term, you might think you're getting some better advantage or something like that, but really you're not. It just takes more time. One quick caveat is if you use a page builder to just do like one page on your site, like the homepage or the about page, I think that is a lot more acceptable than thinking that you need to use a page builder for every single regular old blog post. But if it's like a special page, a sales page, again, your about page, your homepage, where it's a one-off thing, maybe that's a great spot to use a page builder. But as a rule, I would go with the most plain vanilla, like easy, simple theme that you could go for. And I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to that sort of thing. So that's part of the reason why I mentioned it. Okay. Next subject is what motivates you. So if you're not on my email list, I'll put a link there so you could hop on, but I send usually like 1 to 3 emails per week. A lot of times I'll just let you know that a new podcast or a new video is coming out. Sometimes I'll let you know that I'm doing a live stream with a special guest. Sometimes I let you know about a new like content agency or link building agency that is out there. Like I mentioned one called Growth Cupid not too long ago, which is Shauna Newman's new agency. They do all sorts of stuff, including done for you sites. So sign up for the email list. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I don't send spam or anything like that. And it's usually related to, niche sites, SEO, online business, entrepreneurship, sometimes some mindset stuff like we're about to talk about right now. So I talked about the difference between internal motivation and external motivation. And essentially, if you can understand if you're internally motivated or externally motivated, or a combo of the two, right? There's always like a spectrum. Then you can set up your day, you could set up your work, and you could organize things around you so that you can get done with the things that you want to accomplish, right? You want to set yourself up to be successful and to reduce friction. So understanding your motivation can do a whole lot for you. Now, me personally, I am very internally motivated. I can make up some arbitrary goal. I can make up something like, let's say I'm like camping or something like that. I'm out at a site for a little while. I'm like, you know what? I think it would be really good if we had the firewood closer and then figured out a way to have firewood closer. I would make some arbitrary goal and work on it and organize things and try to make it better and accomplish it. I'm also good with very long-term things. Like I used to run more often before I had an Achilles issue, but I would do half marathons. I loved training. I loved the distance. I was not going to win it. I wasn't very fast, but I really enjoyed the process of training and all that it brought along. It was very fun. I liked the race days as well. And it was just fun. It wasn't even a big social thing for me. So it was really just internal motivation. And I was just doing it for fun, basically. And it took many hours and it was a lot of effort. And there's other people who are a lot more externally motivated. So maybe having a boss that tells you what you need to have done at a certain time. Now, probably most of us here, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you don't want a boss. You want to be your own boss. But sometimes having that external accountability is super helpful. And it could be as simple as, actually, we'll stick with the exercising analogy here, but sometimes people don't have the motivation to like wake up in the morning, do their hour workout, whatever it might be, all on their own. So one really effective way to take care of this, if you are externally motivated, is to have a friend work out with you. So your friend is going to wake up at 5:45 so that you could wake up, so that you could work out at 6. So you have to wake up a little early. He or she has to wake up early, and then you have to work out at 6. And you don't want to disappoint your friend because they woke up early too. You're counting on each other for this accountability to show up and go do your workout, right? If you are not externally motivated and you don't care about your friend, you're like, they'll work out on their own, then that's not going to work. But if you're externally motivated, you don't want to disappoint your friend. Further, some people will like hire a coach or sign up for whatever CrossFit or some sort of other group activity, and they will pay for it so that they have some skin in the game. Number one, if they don't show up, they just lose their money. And then the other thing is they are hiring someone and other people are counting on you to show up. Now, if it's a group, it's not as high pressure sometimes, but basically if you hire a trainer and they're getting up and they want to train you, then you're going to show up. sometimes it doesn't take much if you're externally motivated. So this is, again, super powerful because if you know what you like to do, and sometimes it could be different, right? You might love like work and sitting down at your desk, writing, doing keyword research, whatever it might be. You might love doing that kind of stuff, but maybe you need the motivation to go work out, for example. You need the external motivation and the accountability to make it work for certain things. So again, it can be a spectrum. Maybe it depends on the specific thing that you're trying to do and accomplish. So that brings me to the mastermind group. So I am running a mastermind group. It is a paid mastermind group, and this is something you have to apply for. Again, it is paid. It's going to be a roughly 7-week course, or not course, but a 7-week program where we have 4 group mastermind sessions, and I'm going to lead those. I'll actually facilitate those meetings, and then you get that accountability with the group. You will also get 3 one-on-one sessions with me. So typically I charge, $447 for an hour session, and you'll get 3 of those. Okay. So again, this is a paid situation, and there's an application here. You do need to be making a minimum of $500 per month online. So that is another big thing. Like, it's not really for, straight up beginners. It's people that want to, grow whatever it is they're working on already, hopefully through accountability and then some expert, one-on-one coaching and meetings with me. So by the way, for those one-on-one sessions, I can, for example, audit your site. I can go through and give you specific tips. We can go through maybe like setting up a process flow or whatever you need specifically. It could be helping you set up your team, or looking at job applications, or setting up, I guess like not a job application, but a post so that you may hire people, right? So I can help you in all sorts of things. And the other big thing is, and this came into play for me, and one of the reasons why I formed mastermind meetings and groups back in the day, is people know what you're talking about, right? So if I go into my normal environment and I tell people about niche sites and I tell them about keyword research, they don't know what I'm talking about. All right. They have no clue. So it's great if you can geek out with a few other people that know what you're talking about, and they're roughly the same level as you, making over $500. And I've gotten a number of applications in already. And I think 2/3 of the group, they are earning $2,000 or more of the applications that I've received. So I'll put a link if you want to check it out a little bit more. And honestly, if you don't want to join a group, that's cool. If you don't want to join a paid group, for example, you just form your own group. That's typically what I've done. But I will tell you, some of the groups that I've been in where it's inside of a paid community, it's a different caliber of people. They have paid money. They understand the value of having that entry fee, essentially, right? So people are serious is the main point. So this is kind of an accelerator. It's kind of a fast-paced thing. Again, 7 weeks, there's 4 group mastermind meetings that I'll facilitate, and 3 one-on-one sessions. So you can check it out and get a little more info and fill out the application. There's not too much to it. There's just a handful of questions in here to make sure that you'll be able to start sometime between September 25th and October 10th. And a couple other questions just to set up a little bit of a barrier, right? I don't want 1 million people to apply, just a few. I can also tell you that some of the folks that were in the group in March, right? I held another group in March. They're seeing results. Like, they started seeing results within a couple months. And I can read you just a quick testimonial from my friend Brett. I wanted to give you a quick update. We've been implementing your recommendations and the results are starting to roll in. I attached a screenshot of organic clicks since we started making the changes, and both clicks and impressions have more than doubled. Also, the CTR, the click-through rate, has doubled from 0.9% to 1.9%. In addition, many articles are now in positions 1 through 5, and many others are trending towards the 1 through 5 positions. And revenue from the site is starting to come in now, as opposed to solely relying on social media. So Brett was on the social media side primarily, and now he's getting some organic search traffic and seeing results. So anyway, it'll be awesome if you check it out, if that's something that you're interested in. The applications are open until the end of the day, Tuesday, September 19th. So I opened it up for just under a week to make sure we get a handful of people to apply. So if you're interested, definitely apply. If you have any questions, you could just shoot me an email to let me know, whatever it is, and I can point you in the right direction. So that's it for today. Thanks, Joe, for sending in the question about page builders. If you want to send in a question as well, feedback@Doug.Show, or you could actually leave a voicemail. There's a phone number in the show notes here, so you could call, leave a voicemail, and then I could potentially play it on the air. And if you're interested in the Mastermind group, remember, you just have a few days to fill out the application. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email, feedback@Doug.Show. And I'm going to play guitar here in a second. So if you don't want to listen to that, you can skip forward. It'll be after the outro music and all that stuff. And there was one other thing I was going to tell you. Oh yeah, if you want to sign up for the email list so that you get these emails, I'll put a link there, or you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button and enter your email, and then you'll start getting emails. That's all you have to do.